Have you ever felt like your brain just won't switch off? Like no matter how tired you are, your mind keeps replaying conversations, imagining situations that haven't even happened, and asking endless what ifs at 2 a.m.? Here's the strange part. Some of the most intelligent, emotionally aware people are also the most mentally exhausted. Not because they're doing too much, but because they're thinking too much. This is what psychology calls overthinking, or more specifically, maladaptive rumination. It's when your mind gets stuck in loops, replaying the past, analyzing the present, and overpredicting the future. But here's something most people get wrong. Overthinkers aren't weak. They're not broken. In fact, their brains are often exceptionally powerful. They're wired for deep analysis, pattern recognition, and emotional awareness. Their mind is constantly scanning, trying to understand everything, trying to prepare for anything. The problem? It never gets the signal to stop. Neurologically, the part of the brain responsible for thinking and planning stays active even when it should be resting. So instead of switching off, the brain stays online, always thinking, always analyzing, always preparing, and over time, that becomes exhausting. But here's where it gets deeper. For many people, this habit didn't start recently. It started in childhood, in environments where things felt unpredictable, where emotions changed quickly, or where mistakes had big consequences. So the brain learned something very important. Think ahead, stay alert, predict everything. Because if you can predict it, maybe you can control it. And just like that, overthinking became a survival strategy. Not a weakness, but an adaptation. Now, not all overthinking is the same. Sometimes it's helpful when you reflect, understand yourself, and process emotions. That's a strength. But other times, it turns into a loop. You keep thinking, but you don't move forward. You analyze, but you don't find answers. This is where it becomes draining. And here's the tricky part. It feels like you're being productive. Your brain is active, engaged, working. But in reality, you're just going in circles. Psychologists call this the illusion of progress, and your brain actually rewards you for it. Every time you analyze a situation, you get a small dopamine hit. So your mind keeps going, not because it's solving something, but because it feels like it is. So what does this say about you? Research shows that people who overthink are often more empathetic, more aware of emotions, and more sensitive to how others feel. They notice things others don't. They understand people on a deeper level. But that same awareness comes at a cost. Because when you notice everything, you carry everything. And that's exhausting. Here's the truth most people don't realize. Not every problem is meant to be solved by thinking. Some things need to be felt, some decisions need to be made, and some thoughts need to be let go. That's why modern therapy doesn't focus on stopping thoughts, but on changing your relationship with them. Instead of getting lost in every thought, you learn to observe it, to create distance, to realize this is just a thought, not a reality. And that small shift can change everything. Because overthinking isn't a flaw. It's a mind that learned to stay alert in a world that once felt uncertain. The goal isn't to stop thinking completely. The goal is to teach your mind that it's finally safe to rest. And maybe that understanding is where healing actually begins.